Harrison Ford walked onto the late show stage with his usual mix of rugged charm and aloof confidence, greeted by roaring applause. Stephen Colbert welcomed him with a wide grin, eager to discuss Ford's latest film. The first few minutes flowed smoothly as they joked about stunts, aging in Hollywood, and flying planes. But when Colbert pivoted toward climate change, something Ford has been passionate about for years, the tone shifted. "You've spoken a lot about climate, Harrison," Colbert said, "but don't you think flying private jets while preaching environmentalism is, well, a bit contradictory?" Ford narrowed his eyes. "Are you trying to say I don't believe in the cause because I fly a damn plane?" he asked sharply. The crowd laughed nervously, sensing the temperature rising. Colbert tried to cushion the question, smiling. No, I'm just saying critics have pointed out the irony. I mean, you're an action hero with a carbon footprint, right?" Harrison leaned back, his voice still calm, but now edged with tension. "You know, Stephen, it's easy to joke about activism from behind a desk. But when you've flown to the Amazon to meet with tribal leaders and risked malaria doing so, maybe you earn the right to speak on it." The room fell quiet. Colbert blinked, caught off guard by the seriousness. "Hey, I'm not mocking the work," he replied, just pointing out how the public sees it. Ford leaned in. "Or how you want them to see it, maybe." There was no laughter, now just raw tension. The mood thickened as Colbert tried to steer the conversation back to lighter topics. "Okay, let's talk Indiana Jones," he said with a forced chuckle. "You've cracked whips, outrun boulders. Ever feel like these interviews are more dangerous than the movies?" It was a clear attempt to reset the vibe, but Ford wasn't letting it go. "What's more dangerous," he said, "is dismissing people's efforts because they don't fit your TV punchline." That landed like a punch. The audience didn't know whether to clap or stay silent. Colbert shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. "Come on, Harrison, I'm not here to attack you," he said, but his tone had lost its usual swagger. "No," Ford snapped back. "You're here to sound clever while pretending to care." For a brief moment, Colbert looked stunned, and he chuckled nervously. "Well, I do care. That's why I ask questions." But Ford wasn't playing along. "There's asking," he said, "and then there's performing concern for laughs. You don't get to do both." The crowd began murmuring. Some clapped, others looked around awkwardly. Ford folded his arms, his gaze locked on Colbert. It wasn't a publicity stunt, nor was it a rehearsed moment gone wrong. This was raw, unfiltered frustration. Colbert took a sip from his mug, then asked, "So, any chance we'll see Han Solo again?" Ford didn't even smile. "Maybe if he gets to blast through late-night talk shows with a blaster instead of charm." That line got a few laughs, but they were tense. Uncertain, the producers flashed signals for a commercial break, but Colbert waved it off, trying to regain control. "All right, let's get real then," he said. "You've been a voice for the planet for decades. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to real progress?" Ford sighed deeply, visibly deciding whether to stay engaged or walk out. "People thinking it's a performance," he finally said. "People reducing it to sound bites or headlines. We don't have time for cleverness anymore." It wasn't loud, but it landed like thunder. The crowd applauded this time, though. Still cautiously, Colbert nodded, perhaps realizing the moment was bigger than the show's format. "Fair point," he said softly. "You're right, this stuff matters." But the damage had been done. During the commercial break, reports say Ford stood up and walked to the side, speaking heatedly with the producer. Though he returned to his seat for the final segment, the energy between the two men was off. Reed scripted questions, talked briefly about the film's release date, and exchanged a dry handshake. After the show ended, Ford exited without addressing the press or the audience. Backstage sources later said it was the most tense post-show debrief they'd experienced in months. Colbert didn't joke about it the next night, as he often does with controversial guests. Instead, he opened the show with a monologue on climate change and the media's responsibility to elevate, not dilute, serious conversations. The internet, of course, exploded. Clips of Ford's blunt responses trended under hashtags like Harrison's naps and Ford v. Colbert. Fans praised him for standing firm, calling him the hero we didn't expect but needed. Critics of Colbert said he underestimated his guest and came off as glib. Others defended Colbert, arguing he was doing his job, asking tough questions, and reflecting public skepticism. But amid the discourse, one thing was clear. Ford wasn't playing by Hollywood's PR rules. He came with a message, and he wasn't afraid to call out what he saw as hypocrisy, even if it meant clashing with one of late night's most beloved hosts. Media outlets rushed to spin the story. Some painted Ford as a grumpy icon past his prime, lashing out needlessly. Others highlighted the substance of his comments, focusing on the climate message buried beneath the tension. In a follow-up interview days later, Ford addressed the exchange. Briefly, "I don't regret what I said. Regret that it had to be said that way." When asked if he'd return to The Late Show, he chuckled and said, "Not unless we're doing a campfire chat and not a comedy routine." His remark underscored the divide between old-school sincerity and the entertainment industry's demand for viral moments. Ford wasn't interested in sound bites. He wanted real dialogue. Colbert, meanwhile, maintained a quieter posture. On a podcast later that week, he said, "Sometimes conversations get heavy. It's okay. It's what live TV is. It's unpredictable. And sometimes uncomfortable." He didn't apologize, but acknowledged Ford's frustration. Harrison's a passionate guy. He's earned the right to speak his mind. It was a diplomatic close, though fans still debated whether Colbert crossed a line. Regardless, the moment became a turning point. Other celebrities started refusing light interviews unless their causes were taken seriously. Viewers began demanding more depth from their favorite shows. The Ford-Colbert clash wasn't just viral, it was transformative months later. The moment remained etched in pop culture memory. It wasn't just about two powerful figures arguing. It was about authenticity clashing with performance. Ford walked in expecting respect for his mission, and when he felt mocked, he fired back. Colbert expected a playful sparring match, but got scorched instead. In the end, no one won, but the audience gained something rare: honesty. In an industry built on polish and politeness, Harrison Ford reminded everyone that passion doesn't always come with a smile, and sometimes that's exactly what we need.